Hello, and welcome to another episode of Fit Vegans Rock. I am Shani Collins Woods, and I am joined by my wonderful husband.
Timothy the Good Soldier Woods.
And today we have a very special treat for you. We have an interview with the Timothy Good Soldier Woods. For those of you who are new to this channel, thank you for watching this video. Here at Fit Vegans Rock, we talk about all things relevant to the whole foods, plant-based lifestyle. Um, I deal with recipes and fun ways to sort of get in shape and provide inspiration. And my husband Timothy does strength and training, strength and conditioning, inspiration, and any type of thing to help you get ripped and in your best shape. So together we created Fit Vegans Rock, and we are excited to host Mr. Woods here today and provide some insight into who he is, what his experience has been as a professional athlete and business owner. And so I have a good couple of questions lined up for Timothy today. So we're going to jump right into our interview. But before I begin, I kindly ask that you subscribe to this channel, give this video a big thumbs up, share it with those who may be interested in learning more about the whole foods plant-based lifestyle, but also for those who are interested in learning more about us and our brand, Fit Vegans Rock, our company. So again, we thank you for tuning in today. Timothy, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing wonderful, my beautiful wife.
Okay.
And I'm glad you guys join us today. And we got some good stuff and some interesting point we're going to touch on, and we'll see what happens.
Okay. Awesome. So, Timothy, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? Um, Tell us, just where you're from, a little bit about your background.
Okay, my name is Timothy Woods, the Good Soldier. I'm from Orlando, Florida originally. And I love martial arts. I've been doing it for a very long time. I started in 1998.
Okay.
98, and I've been doing it for a while. I always been a huge fan in martial arts ever since I was a little kid. My father said I used to go outside and then I watch a movie and I go outside and try to duplicate what I saw on TV. So this has been a lifelong journey for me.
Okay. So, tell us a little bit about your life growing up in Orlando.
I'm a little different from my wife. She's from the Delta. It's more of a small town southern type thing. I'm from Orlando, Florida, but really long distance away from Disney World. You know, when you think of Orlando, Florida, you say most people come to their mind is Disney World. Well, I've lived a long way from Disney World, and I was an inner city kid, and I experienced a lot, and it taught me to be tough and I had to persevere so many different obstacles and things in my life. But at the end of the day, I still was able to maintain that loving and caring person that I am.
Okay. Very good. So, your parents, did they have any influence on your life growing up?
Yes, yes. I guess my father, he was at the time. Right now, he's like 5'10", but and I'm 6'4". Back then, when I was a kid, I thought he was like 6'8", 6'9". You know, he was the biggest guy, biggest personality in my life at the time. My mother was like Matt Cena, God bless her soul. She went to heaven already, and she was just a beautiful person, inside and out. I would say that my mother has never. I would say I have never heard her talk about anybody out of my whole life. And her thing was always, you got to take care of it. You got to be careful how you treat Jesus' children. You got to take care of it. And she was like a small country town she came from, and she was just a loving person. Oh,
Mhm.
amazing person.
Oh, that's awesome to hear. We've been married for 4 years. We just recently celebrated our 4th year anniversary, and I always tell Tim, I when we first met, I felt your spirit, but as he has described his mother, and who she is and how she lived her life and how faith was so important to her, I can definitely tell that she passed those values on to her son. And so, even though I didn't meet her, I can feel her presence through Timothy, and feel the type of person she probably was in her life. And so that's a true blessing. So you talked about your mom and how faith was so important to her. I know you as my husband, as a man of God. So talk to us a little bit about why faith and your spirituality, why your faith in Jesus Christ is so important to you.
Well, it wasn't always like that. I remember as a kid, and my mother grew up in a small town. My grandmother, her mother, my mother, Maxine Edwards, her name was Eva Edwards. They lived practically right across the street from the church, a little
Mm-hmm.
small country church. I mean, she was a cook for the church. So my mother was raised in the church. I wasn't. Unfortunately, my father never really went to church like that. As a matter of fact, I never seen my father go to church.
Really?
No, no, not at all. But my mother, later on, she met my father, and she didn't go to church, but I would say every night she read and wrote stuff in her portfolio, her diary. And right now, we still have her
Yes,
diary.
yes. It's a
you
blessing that
know,
we
s-
still have stacks of
stats up.
books that Miss Maxina would write in.
Yeah. So she would write to God prayers and stuff like that. And she would always talk about God. And so one particular instance where I was outside playing football with, make a long story short, I was playing football with my siblings and the kids from the neighborhood. And it was this Baptist church and right across the street. Like I said, I was an inner city kid. So it's in the inner city. But it was a pretty decent sized church, not a mega church, but a decent size for being inside, the inner city. And one particular time, football. I'm sorry, football in the parking lot, and it was Sunday. I remember that day yesterday. And my mother, I'm sorry, the guy came up. He asked us to move because they needed the parking lot to, to park people. So I'm like, okay, we got to move over here in the street. We'll play over here in the street, play tag, catch in the street. And the guy was like, "Do you guys want to play? Do you guys want to Why are you guys not coming to church?" And I was like, I can't go to church because I don't have any clothes. My mother said I don't have any clothes. So I was thinking I was about 8 years old at the time,
Mm-hmm.
8 years old. And the guy, he was like, well, Jesus said, come who you are, come how you are. Don't worry about anything. So I'm like, you don't need clothes? I can come how I am. So he's like, yeah, go tell your mother you come. I'm like, oh, I'm coming. So I asked my brother, was at the time, he was with me. I said, come on, man, you want to go to church? And I ain't going to there. I'm not going in there. And I asked the kids in the neighborhood, do they want to go? And it was like, no, I'm not going in there. So I'm like, okay, I'm going. I ran across the street and I talked to my mother. She was like, baby, she's from a Baptist church. She know how things are structured and how people act or whatever. So she was like, baby, I'm telling you, you need clothes. You don't go over there. I'm like, man said I can go over there. I don't need clothes. Being a little spoiled brat. And she said, okay, all right, just go. And I went over there. She got what she can. I went over there, and I would say that was one of the most embarrassing times in my life.
Wow.
I mean, it wasn't just the younger people; it was the older people.
Mm-hmm.
Making fun and picking. So I promised myself that day, and I was 7 going on 8, and I think I was 8 actually. I said I never stepped foot inside of another church. If it came down to it, if people act like that inside of a church, and I'm a kid, I wouldn't. I don't want no parts of it. And I realized later on that was the enemy way to kind of sway me away from God plan for my life.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And fast forward 16 years old, 16 years, 8 years later, 16 years old, God revealed himself into me in a magnificent way. And ever since that day, I got saved and I've been on that track to serve, preach, teach the word of God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he definitely gives you a sermon around here. Well, I think that's a great story, and people need to hear that because a lot of people are turned away from the church. I grew up in the church, and a lot of people are turned away from the church because of things like that. You don't just may not necessarily have the clothes or this and that, or fit in with this clique or this particular social club. And really, it's not about that. God wants us to come with our hearts committed to Him, to serve Him. And so I think it's important that you share that because what you're telling people is don't turn away from God,
No.
and don't let people turn you away from the church, because the enemy
No.
does work through people. And that church wasn't right, but you have a bigger testimony,
Yes.
in the
Yes.
end.
Yes.
So that's,
God worked everything out.
yeah, that's absolutely great. So let's get into um talking about your career as a professional athlete.
Okay.
So if you were to describe your sports hero, who would you say is a person you admire or look up to um, um as a professional athlete?
Okay, I always been a huge fan of Michael Jordan. I played basketball. Every kid in my age in the era loved Michael Jordan. And I had a chance to actually ball boy for the Orlando Magic one time.
Wow.
And I was in the locker room. Of course, they crushed the Magic, and I was happy about that. but they actually he was actually in the locker room,
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan,
Mhm.
and I had a chance to
The Michael
the
Jordan.
Michael Jordan. So
The
I had
Michael
a chance to actually talk to him. And even when I was a kid, he was like, "How's it going, little man?" I was like, "I'm doing good. How you doing?" You know.
Wow.
But even as a little kid, I knew right then. I said, "You know what? You're good,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm better than you." It's just that competitive nature. But he just laughed it off. But obviously I didn't say that. But he just laughed it off like, "Oh, this kid got a little spunk in him," you know. And
Mm-hmm.
I would mind you, I had to actually make the best grade. It was a selection of 10 students that month to be like put into a lottery to be the ball boy for the I guess the program, but you had to make the best grades in the class of the whole
Mm-hmm.
month. And it was
Right.
like a toss up and it picked like four of us.
Oh
And I
wow.
won it. So
Wow. That's
I would say
that's
Michael
awesome.
Jordan.
Wow, awesome. Hey Jordan. Hey. My sister loved Michael Jordan too. I'm not an athlete at all, but I can remember the book we had Michael Jordan poster. Kanika was always playing basketball, so I totally get the Jordan. I like Jordan too. So,
Yeah.
um, tell me what you think is the best part. Well, let me backtrack a little bit. How did you get into martial arts? What was the impetus to inspire you to take up martial arts, or even to look at it as something you felt you could do professionally?
Okay. I always been a huge fan of martial arts ever since I was a kid. You know, that's just was my thing. You know, I love martial arts movies. I remember this one particular movie, like I was 6 years old and I watched it. It's called Five Super Ninja. They call it Super Ninja, but it's like I think it was the name. I think it's called Super Ninja, but it came up with another name, Five Element Ninjas. That's what it was. So it got two names for one show, right? So I watched it when I was a kid, and I'm like, man, that was pretty cool. It had one like master, grandmaster, and he had like pupils, and they came and they fought against everybody else. So that's essentially what I do. Like you have a team, and your team compete against other teams around the world.
Okay.
You know.
So you were just inspired by that. I remember you talking about Kung Fu Friday Saturdays
Yeah,
and
Cat from
watching all
Saturday. Yeah,
those
yeah, all those
martial arts movies. We Kanika.
Shaw Brothers,
Okay, the Shaw
Shaw
Brothers.
Brothers movies.
My
Yeah.
sister used to watch a lot of martial arts stuff. We were like a karate kids, so we would be doing that. Like, we would watch it. We were HBO kids, so we always just watch everything on HBO.
That's so funny. Now you watch those shows like these guys don't know
You
anything
watch
about
that stuff,
martial
it looks
arts.
like
What in the world?
so
You know?
funny. Yes. So Timothy, tell us, what is the best part about competing professionally?
Wow. I just think it's just you find so much about yourself competing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you find out, as they say, stuff get real. You
Right.
know, you find so much about yourself when you're competing, and especially when you compete in martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you can play basketball, you can play football, hockey, or baseball. You can't play martial arts. You can't play fighting because you can get hurt. You
Right.
know, so it's a different type of a perspective, a different mindset you have to go in there with. Not being so focused where you're not comfortable and smooth, but focus and laser focus. And it's just having that thing, like I said, that not knowing
Mm-hmm.
at the end what's going on, the adrenaline that comes with it, you know. But at the end of the day, it's not about if you want to lose. It's about competing and how
Mm-hmm.
you perform that night. If you give it your all, you always a winner. You know, if you go in and you're not competing and you let your fears and your anxiety get in the way of you competing at your fullest, then you may lose. You can say that I lost that fight. But if you go in there and you prepare before the fight with training camp and you do all that you can and you go in there with the willing to know that, okay, well, I gave it my all in the trenches and let's go at it, win or lose, I'm gonna give it my all. You're a winner.
Okay. Awesome. Well, wow. It's based on what you say, it seems like it requires a lot of dedication, but more so what you're saying is it's your mentality.
Yes.
It starts like with the mind. One of
Yes.
my favorite poems is it's all in the frame of mind. And one of the things is if you think you if you think you're a winner, then you've already won.
Yeah.
If you think you're a loser, you've already lost. So
Yes.
what you're saying is it starts with the mind frame. So that's a good point of view for us to take in
Yeah.
and absorb. Even as you think about being vegan,
Yeah.
that's why it's a lifestyle, but it starts with your mind.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. I
So
agree.
so you mentioned training camp. So over throughout your career, in order to prepare for a martial arts tournament or a competition, you have to go to training camp for few periods of months, like for a long period of time, right?
Yes.
So during that period, and even just in training, you have interacted with professional athletes, throughout your career, and you guys work very intensely. What are some of the things that you guys would do to make practice or your sparring sessions fun? Because we know you're doing the hard work,
Hmm.
but what about the fun part?
Well, I guess to go back to that competition thing. When you're inside of a room, you go out to training camp and you're inside of a room and you got all these guys and ladies. I would say it's more ladies than guys now. It's equal amount of competitors in martial arts. And everyone has this thing like, I want to be the best. I'm going to be the best today. I don't know how I feel, but even if I feel bummed out, you're not beating me today. You're not beating me. So to make it fun, I think it's just that competitive thing, that competitive nature, some as far as the training wise, for me, sparring was always fun for me. I don't know, it's kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like sparring when actually we're going back and forth and I'm going with different individuals, I found that it's super exciting. Now strength and conditioning never was too fun for me. I couldn't figure out how to make that fun. But I tell you what, at the end, when I'm done with the strength and conditioning, excuse me, I felt excited. I felt motivated. Like it may suck at the time, but when you get done, like, wow, I really killed myself, but we got it done.
All right, we got it
You know,
done. Okay. Sounds good. Just that sparring and keeping that competitive edge is what really motivates you.
yeah.
If you were to describe a sports quote, it may not be someone who has given this quote actually, or maybe perhaps just a mantra or something you think of for yourself. What would you describe, or what would you say? What do you tell yourself to motivate you?
If you think you're gonna win, you're gonna win. If you think you're gonna lose,
You're
you're
gonna
gonna
lose.
lose. It's a
Okay.
mentality, you know.
Okay,
And
that
nothing
makes sense.
easy. Go for it.
Go for it. Okay. So what emotions do you feel when you've, put put your all, you've laid out everything in the octagon? How do you feel when you know you've done well?
Okay, so for instance, we'll say if I gave it my all and I did everything that I had to do, in training camp, the real training starts in training camp. It's like anything else. Like, okay, well, if you're trying to lose weight and you want to reach a certain goal, like say for instance, you want to drop 20 pounds um, in 3, 4 months. Okay, the it starts when you're training,
Mm-hmm.
when you're doing counting your calorie, counting your carbs, getting up, getting on the treadmill, walking, doing whatever you need to do, and it's going to suck at the time, but that's where the real training begins.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end, when you get on the scale, you know you did your part, you won. So the training camp is really where the fight starts, not you know
Mm-hmm.
not the actual fight. The fight itself is going to take care of itself if you do the part right, the proper work. Same thing when you're journey or losing weight. If you do the proper work at the end of your goal, at the end of your time frame, you meet your goal because you put in the work.
Mm.
That's the easy part.
That makes sense. Okay. Who do you wish was performing, or who do you wish was watching each and every one of your competitions?
Um, Unfortunately, I never had um my mother or any of my siblings or anything or my beautiful wife. I never had like my family members there. One particular time I had my sister there and she had her head down the whole time. I actually won the bout within like a minute and a half, which was an easy night for me. But she had her head down the whole time. So, but I think my goal in September, I told her to have my wonderful, beautiful wife with me.
Okay. All right. Okay. Timothy, what is your favorite song to listen to when you are preparing or preparing to compete? What's the song that gets you motivated? Like, hey, this is it.
Lord, give me a sign. DMX.
DMX.
Lord, give me a sign. I mean, that's what it is. Timothy the good soldier was to 2 Timothy 2:3. Endure hardship as a good soldier of the Lord Jesus Christ. That's my staple. That's where I am. When you hear that song, here comes the bull. He's coming. That's my thing. So
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. What is your favorite movie about sports? You mentioned one movie earlier, but what is your favorite sports movie?
hmm. I would say I like Bloodsport.
Bloodsport
Bloodsport and
with John Claude Van Damme.
John
Okay,
Claude
Van
Van Damme.
Damme.
I like
Mm-hmm.
that. And Rocky 3, it's the best one with Mr. T. I know I'm going to tell my age right now, but
I
Rocky
love Mr.
3,
T.
sorry, Rocky 3 with Mr. T, that was the classic thing because he actually did his thing. He did his by himself. He did his own training or whatever. And I kind of I can relate to that because I'm gonna tell you something. Sometimes you need to get it you need to get it out of the forest and clear your mind. You need to be away from yourself, away from everyone else, and really find yourself and
Mm-hmm.
find who you are, not
Mm-hmm.
who someone's trying to mold you into be. And with that being said, that's when you really discovered your true self.
That's a good, powerful statement. Babe. Really good. Where do you feel most confident in your body? That's a sort of unusual
And my
question.
body,
In your body, I said in your body. Where are you most
uh,
confident?
I would say when I was younger, I would say if we talk about physicality, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
I would say my chest when I was younger. I had a
Mm-hmm.
really big chest. It was ridiculous. Without even training, it was
Mm-hmm.
just there.
Yeah, you felt your upper body strength.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and my arms and stuff like that. I would say it's still the same thing. Like my arms are more defined now. My chest is still defined, but my arms and my upper body strength is excuse me, my upper body strength is still where it is, but my leg hits my legs. See, I got small little legs. Well, it's not too small,
Mm-mm. I
not too
like them.
small,
That's sexy.
but I throw a lot of kicks, so
Mm-hmm.
my legs is more important nowadays.
Okay. Okay. So being an athlete, you are also you kind of serve as I would like to think servant leader, but you lead, but you are also you can be engaged in community events. Why is that important to let others see like community involvement?
Well, it's all about giving back.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about helping others. I'm a big kid by nature, and my wife can attest to that. I love teaching children. I
Mm-hmm.
love helping out and teaching kids. It wasn't always like that. I always trained with professional athletes. And once I became a business owner, I actually started teaching children. I'm like, wow, I'm missing out on so much.
Yes.
Like kids are so authentic. They're so genuine. When they say, hey, coach, I miss you, coach, they're serious. They
Mm-hmm.
really did miss you. It's just something about them that really just excite me. And right now, even when it comes to children that's had unfortunate events and they're in trouble, my heart goes out to them. I'm an inner city kid. I understand your struggle. I'm there for you. And I just think it's all about giving back.
Yeah, I think you're being very honest and transparent there because I've seen you interact with your little kids and your kids program and Coach Tim, Coach Tim, Coach Tim. And I had to tell Tim, I said, listen, now some of these parents want you to adopt it. Then no, we're not doing it. Don't come bring the kids here over the weekends.
I love the
Take your
kids.
kids back home.
I love the kids. I can't help it.
We love y'all, but we have social worker boundaries. But yeah, they love Coach Tim, and that's a true blessing because everyone doesn't have that gift. I think it's a special gift to be able to work with children. That's why I work with adults.
My
Okay,
baby.
I work with adults. Okay, so Tim, tell me, how does being an athlete make you a better person, or does it make you a better person?
Well, it all depends on how your perspective and your view. If you're a soul loser, if you thinking that the world revolves around you and it's all about you, then you're gonna really hate it if someone crack your egg. You lose, and or no one like losing. Everyone
Mm-hmm.
know that it sucks. You're athlete, you put your all into it. You lose, it's gonna suck. You hate losing, but it's more so about what are you trying to do with your success? Who are you trying to reach with your success? What are you planning on doing? If it's all about you, you're gonna be self-absorbed. But if it's not about you, you have a bigger picture, and it's all about I'm on this stage now. I can talk and have a voice to help other people and help
Mm-hmm.
others. So it's more so about getting being on a big enough platform where you can help others and inspire others.
Okay, that's positive. I mean, I think that's really great. Um, what do you do to calm butterflies when you are preparing to compete?
The craziest thing is, like, it's so crazy when it comes to martial arts. You're in an arena and it's over 5 or 6,000 people, and you hear the crowd going around and the rumbles, and it's real crazy when it comes to kickboxing and MMA, And then you're in the background, you're warming up, and the guy say, "Hey, Woods, you're up," So now you're like, okay, game time. Um, and then the guy come in and he's bleeding all over the place, and there people before they might have been hurt or he might have won. It just still hurt. Injuries happen, but before the match actually take place, I watch comedy.
Mm-hmm.
It's so crazy. I've been in the back watching some comedy skits, comedy movie, laughing my butt off. You know what I mean? To kind of relax. And then 5 minutes prior to the match, it's game time.
Okay. Okay. Makes sense. If you could, well, you do. You're a well-rounded athlete. So if you were to play another sport professionally or even just in general, what would that be?
I love basketball.
Mm-hmm.
To be
Who's your
honest,
favorite team?
the Lakers.
Who's your favorite basketball player?
Kobe Bryant, Kobe B.
Mm-hmm.
God
Mm-hmm.
rest in peace, rest his soul. He's the Michael Jordan 2.0.
Right.
I would say that Kobe Bryant is arguably the best player in the world that ever lived. He don't get the recognition that he deserved, but that Mamba mentality, man, it goes far more than just basketball.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. If you were to describe one word that sort of sums up who Timothy is, what word would you say?
Gritty, grit.
Grit.
You know,
Okay.
it's just like even though educated but blue collar, just
Mm-hmm.
grit.
Mm-hmm.
Like life experiences that taught me, you're gonna go through things. You're gonna have ups and downs. You're gonna have setbacks in life. This could be like a metaphor for everyone that's listening. Like to pick yourself back up. You're not a loser until if life knock you down, get back up. You're not a loser unless you stay down. If you get back up and try again, revamp your method, try a different angle, maybe go to something else or keep going but a different route. You're still a winner. Believe that you're a winner because you are. But if you stay down, you're just a quitter. All right. So be gritty.
Okay.
You got it.
Okay. Let's see. Let me see. We have already covered so many great questions. Um, what foods do you eat to prepare for a competition?
Okay, but now that I'm whole food
Plant
plant
based.
based, all right.
So you're a
We
vegan
don't
athlete.
yeah, I'm a vegan athlete, so I don't do like I used to. And it's amazing because every camp that I ever went to, we're professional. So we have our own strength and conditioning coach, we have our own nutrition coach, we have everything lined up for us. And I really think they just didn't know either. They didn't know what they was doing. We were just eating that poison.
Listen, when you watch What the Hell, they say a
Yes.
lot of doctors don't even know. I was telling the doctor a few months ago, like, listen, what you're talking about, you're not. That stuff is sugary. That stuff
Yes.
is death food. What you're trying to tell
Yes.
me,
Doesn't
and
make
she's like,
sense.
no, it's not. I was like, but it is. I know.
Yeah, we had certified nutritionists, and they gave us diet plans. We had to stick to the diet plan, and not only we didn't have to go buy our stuff, they had guys to actually go. This is what you need. Do you eat this amount? This is what you eat portion. You eat at this time. At this time, you cut off. Everything is to the science, but at the same time, if you don't know, then you don't know.
Right.
But now that I'm a vegan athlete, it's the same thing: high protein, low carbs.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's just plant based.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. Well, is there anything else you'd like to share with us about being an athlete? Oh, I know. I forgot one important question. We talked about winning. We talked about the necessary mindset it requires to train and the mindset it requires to compete at a high level. We talked about family. We talked about faith. We talked about the meaning of good soldier, how you describe yourself. What does it mean? Can you describe one of your most profound losses and how did you rebound from that?
Okay, my last loss was devastating,
Mm-hmm.
and at that time, I going into it, I knew I wasn't prepared technically because I knew I didn't give it my all. Remember, just while we talked about giving it all in training camp. Unfortunately, like I only went to training camp for like 2 weeks before the fight, quite as crap. And I'm the type of person where I don't make excuses. And right before then, that match, um, I ended up, what was I had a broken foot.
Yeah, you had a broken foot.
Yeah, my leg was broke, and my foot was broke. I'm sorry, and so I knew that kicking would probably be out the equation. I'm a strong kicker. That's one of my strong points in my martial arts or whatever. Um, but I have been in so many situations where I prepare for 3 months, 4 months for a fight, and guys back out at the last minute. That probably happened to me 20 times in my career, and it sucks. And I made a commitment to myself, like, okay, well, I would never ever do that to anyone. Regardless of what, I won't do that to anyone. And I went into the fight, and even though I was hampered, by the way, I never got beat. Let's get that together. I lost, but I never got my butt beat. So, but I went in there, and I have done this because I'm a black belt in judo. I did this move countless of time, and for one reason or another, he went to take me down, and I did her goshi, and I timed it perfectly. I mean, it was so sweet, and I went over, and I forgot to brace my hand. My hand came out to brace down, and it wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
And I hit my head on the mat,
Mm-hmm.
and I lost.
Mm-hmm.
And that was rough for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it took that time after that loss, it was like, okay, well, I had to do some soul searching. Like, okay, well, I never took my job. I always took my job seriously. And for the last couple of times, I had outside distractions, and I never took it seriously. So that was really tough. And how I bounced back from that, grit, perseverance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that happens. It's not about you. Who are you?
Mm-hmm.
You one of many. All right, get over yourself. Everyone loses. You have setbacks, but you learn from your setback.
Right.
Get back up. Do it again.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I think you shared so much great insight with me. I've learned. I feel inspired and motivated. I always tell you that, like, you're great. I always say cheerleader. Tell me, like, don't call me a cheerleader. I'm not no cheerleader. But I mean, you are very inspiring, and you have an infectious personality, and that's why people love you. And so God has given you this great talent and great wisdom and great insight. And I think being well rounded is so important because it allows you to stay humble. Because and what about that? What about humility? Why is that so important for individuals who God has given a platform? Because we also have to remember that as Christians that to whom much is given, much is required, but also that this is not our doing. Right.
Not at all.
It's God who creates that opportunity to use it to bring glory unto himself. So how is it that you remain humble, and still try to let God be seen through you?
Well, I would say honestly, truthfully, it's infectious. You can actually get caught up in your own hype.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's something like to have people waiting to get autographs and taking pictures of you, but people are fickle. You win, you're on top. You lose, no one asks for anything. But the thing is, when it comes to being a Christian, God will hold you accountable. You get too far gone, He will humble yourself. He will make you humble yourself. He will humble you, because if you're not a humble person, if you don't have humility, you're useless in the kingdom of God. Like, God can't use you if it's all you so self-absorbed and it's all about you. It's not. The whole thing is, regardless of what profession that you're in, regardless of what blessing, what God has blessed you with, it's not for you. It's for the kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about staying humble, staying on the right path of being humble and humility, so God can use you. God can't use you. God can't use you prideful. Pride is the beginning of the fall. God cannot use you if you're so self-absorbed and so prideful. So it's all about being humble and letting God use you.
Okay. I think that's a really, really good point. So, Tim, is there anything else you'd like to tell our listening and viewing audience about yourself, about your future plans, about what you feel God has in store for your life?
Okay, so I am on the verge of getting into seminary school. Going to school to be a pastor. This is going to be great for me. I'm super excited. I'm going to finish my martial art career, keep competing until I'll probably do it for like a couple more years, 3 to 4 years, finish it off. And looking forward to give back to the community, give back to, troubled youth and anybody that's I don't know what it is. It's almost like, okay, I spent so much of my life. I'm willing to. Just love to help people. So
Mm-hmm.
anything I can do to help people, that's going to be what's up. And being an awesome husband to my lovely, beautiful, gorgeous wife,
Oh,
you
thank
know,
you.
and that's my goal.
Okay, that sounds good, babe. Give me get you a high five. Pow, pow, pow. Well, babe, I'm proud of you. I support you. You go on into that pulpit. You let God use you. I'll sit out there in the pews and I'll be your cheerleader. I'll be your cheerleader and I'll help you with your endeavors unto the Lord. Whatever God has called you to do, I definitely support you like you always support me and champion me. So I praise God for you, and we just praise God for your professional career and just ask God to continue to bless you, to cover you in all of your ways, and that whatever it is you put your hand to, he blesses it, and that his hand is on it, and his hand is with it, and that anything that is not for your life, that God doesn't have for your life, that he removes it, and
Mhm.
he blesses us to be humble in that and understand that he does all things according to his will, and all things to not to harm us but to bring good into our lives. So
Absolutely.
we thank you for taking this time to speak with us tonight, to speak to this platform and our listeners and our viewers tonight. I've certainly learned a lot from my husband just in listening to him and hearing this insight. And he has so many wonderful stories, a gift, a true gift that is on the inside of him. And if he will ever let me help him push this book on out. The book is written. We just have to get it done. But
I'm going to
in due
let
season, in
in
your
due
season, because
season.
it has to
Yes.
be in the season that you want it
Yes.
to be done, and when God says the same. But I'm here. But thank you so much for tuning into this wonderful interview. Please give this video a big thumbs up. Share it with those who are looking to be inspired, to be encouraged, or who want to know what it is required to perform at a higher level. It starts with your mindset, as
Absolutely.
Coach Woods just said to us, and it starts with for him having faith. And we encourage you, if you are not a part of the body of faith,
You
get to know
always
the
can get
man, get
there.
to know the
You always
man.
can get there. He's waiting.
This is our platform, Fit Begins Rock, but we are Christians first. And so that's truly important to us. And so thank you so much for looking at this video. Thank you for subscribing to our channel. We encourage you to do that. Please share this video with someone who may be interested, and give this video a big thumbs up. Turn that notifications bell on. And until the next time, you guys take care. Please prosper and be in good health, because that's what God wants you to do. And follow Good Soldier, Timothy, the Good Soldier Woods, on his Instagram platform at Good Soldier MMA. We are rebuilding and rebranding for him. And so we thank you for taking this journey with us.
Thank you,
Have a
guys.
wonderful evening.
See ya.
Bye.